Turkey has asked the United States to clarify its position on Syrian Kurdish YPG fighters. Turkey blames the YPG for Wednesday's attack in Ankara that killed 28 people. But in the last few hours, a group called the Kurdistan Freedom Falcons has said it was behind the bombing, that it was in response to President Erdogan's policies. From Gaziantep on the Turkish-Syrian border, Zeyna Khoda reports.
Intense artillery shelling across the border. Turkey is targeting positions of the YPG, a Syrian Kurdish armed group. The government says it has evidence the suicide car bomber who targeted a bus full of soldiers in Ankara on Wednesday was a YPG member, and that he received help from the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, inside Turkey.
We have critical data on who's responsible for this attack. Turkey is facing an attack organised by the PKK and the YPG once again. Turkey's friends should stand with Turkey against all terrorist organisations.
Security is increasingly a concern in Turkey. The bombing in Ankara wasn't the first. And since July, the southeast of the country has been a battleground between security forces and PKK affiliates. Turkish officials want their Western allies to sever their links with the Syrian Kurdish fighters.
The US must clarify its stance on terrorism. Washington's statements are conflicted on the YPG. It's a sign of weakness to act with a terror organisation like the YPG in the fight against Daesh.
But on the ground, the U.S. continues to provide air cover to the YPG and its ally, the Syrian Democratic Forces, as they push deeper into ISIL-held territory. In Syria's eastern province of Hasaki, the Kurdish fighters are closing in on a main supply route that ISIL, also known as Daesh, uses to move between its strongholds in Syria and neighboring Iraq.
It's not about choosing sides here. There's no doubt about Turkey's membership in the coalition. Obviously, there's no doubt about our commitment to a fellow NATO ally. And there's also no doubt that some of the strongest fighters against Daesh inside Syria have been Kurdish fighters.
But the Syrian Kurdish fighters and their allies have not only been taking territory from ISIL. In recent weeks, they've also been taking ground from opposition groups backed by Turkey. For Turkey, that is a red line. Ankara wants to prevent further YPG advances, particularly in Aleppo's northern corridor close to its border. Ankara considers that a threat to its national security, and it has made clear that it will take all the necessary measures to prevent this. It also wants its Western allies to stand by them in this fight. For now, Turkey's options are to continue the cross-border shelling and provide support to the non-Kurdish Syrian opposition. The West has signaled it won't back Turkey's call for a ground operation inside Syria, and the U.S. has signaled that it won't choose sides. The escalating tensions are straining long-time alliances and complicating an already difficult process aimed at ending Syria's war. Zeyna Khoda, Al Jazeera, Southern Turkey.
Now, Russia is calling for a UN Security Council meeting because it fears Turkey could launch a ground invasion of Syria. It wants a resolution demanding an end to action which undermines Syria's sovereignty. Al Jazeera's Daniel Lack is at the United Nations. And Daniel, how soon can we expect this meeting to take place?
Well, the meeting's going to be coming up a little later this afternoon. This, let's not forget, Russia called an urgent meeting of its Security Council colleagues. And the premise they gave was that they fear a Turkish ground invasion of Syria. Now, let's remind viewers that Turkey has not called for a ground invasion of Syria, but it has said it's willing to be part of a multilateral ground force should one emerge. That would probably include Middle Eastern forces as well as European and American forces. There's no prospect of that on the horizon. And they also said after the car bomb this week that they would take any means necessary to defend themselves. So both of those things put together, maybe that's what the Russians are referring to. But we also have to remember that this resolution that they're going to circulate, we won't be hearing much more about it today except that they've introduced it and what the wording of it actually is. Apparently they're not going to name Turkey when they say the resolution would safeguard the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Syria. So that's maybe an attempt to get some support support. Earlier this week, the Russians also called an urgent Security Council meeting to do with Turkish shelling. And again, not much came out of that, no real consensus around what they wanted. But it's safe to say for the moment, given Russia's role in northern Syria at the moment, backing the Kurds, backing the Assad regime, and what it's doing here at the UN, that the diplomatic momentum, at least for the moment, while peace talks remain fairly well stalled in Geneva, is trending Russia's way.
All right, thanks very much. Daniel Lack watching for that upcoming UN Security Council meeting for us there in New York.